Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
What's happening, Night fans? Welcome to the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. Jeff, SHaron, Eric Lopez with you in this mid-May edition. I can't believe we're already, Memorial Day's not that far away, but it is another packed week of UCF sports, Lopez.
It is wild. First of all, it's good to be back in Florida.
Yes, glad you're back.
Be back in Orlando.
Greenville was good. Greenville was fun.
It was. It would have been more fun if UCF softball would have lasted longer, but overall, made the best of it. And, hey, doesn't mean that postseason in UCF sports stops.
Straight up. Yep, you're absolutely right. And, even though we're doing a bunch of summer activities here with UCF, there's still a lot of postseason to be solved out here. And we're going to go over some of that. We were both earlier. We're recording this Wednesday night. We were both earlier today downtown at the Charge On Tour at the Cheyenne Saloon downtown. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We will talk about UCF and USF in baseball to close out the regular season. American Athletic Conference regular season tournament on the line. Top seed in the tournament in Clearwater on the line. Obviously, that's a huge series coming up. Maybe the biggest that UCF baseball has had at home in maybe about 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I would say 5 years
against Rice.
Yeah. So
it reminds me a lot of, Jeff, 2012 when UCF was at Rice, hosting Rice for the Conference USA regular season title. Came down to that weekend. I remember I was in Gainesville calling a regional for softball. And I couldn't be at that Rice series. It was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. UCF won the first game.
Just like this one, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, and I remember there was weather issues in that series. I was like, wow, when are they going to get all the games in or stuff? And Rice ended up winning the next 2 games, won the Conference USA Championship. But we haven't had one big since. I know that. And there have been far and few in between.
So we'll hit on that in a little bit. We'll also hit on rowing, winning their just continues dominating the American Athletic Conference. 3 consecutive years now, the Knights have won the American. We'll give a shout out to them and the individuals that made that happen, out in Sarasota. And we'll talk about men's golf. A big surprise that happened earlier today. Men's golf team wins the College Grove NCAA Regional outright in Tennessee, the Murfreesboro Regional, and they are headed to the NCAA Championships. So we'll hit upon that here in just a second. Quick reminder, don't forget you can go to blackandgoldbanneret.com to get all of our latest information. Sign up for our email alerts as well. You can hit us up on Facebook at Black and Gold Banneret, and you can also hit us up on Twitter at UCF_Banneret. You can follow me at Jeff_SHaron. Excuse me, and you can follow Eric at Eric Lopez Elo. And you can also subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. All right, let's dive in with baseball. All right, so here we go. Right, this is what we were hoping the best case scenario would be. The Knights are actually coming off of a loss. They fell to FAU in Boca 9-4. But
look ahead.
Yep, total look ahead game. It really was a total look ahead game. But now here's the situation. UCF, USF, Houston, 3-way tie at 13-8 in the conference, heading into the final 3 games. All 3 teams are playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. UCF is obviously hosting USF, whom they got swept by earlier in the year back in Tampa. This is, of course, the Knights' second crack at USF. Houston takes on Cincinnati for 3 games at home. Cincinnati is 9-12, third from the bottom in the conference. If the conference tournament were to start this weekend, UCF would be the 2 seed. They would play Memphis. USF right now has the tiebreaker in first place, but that tiebreaker is going to get broken this week. So, so here we go. This is UCF's chance to win the regular season title, lock up the 1 seed in Greg Lovelady's first year. And it starts on Thursday with first pitch at 6:30. Friday they're playing 6:30 as well. And then Sunday it is an afternoon game at 1 p.m. And that will be on CBS Sports Network too. So
correct. Danny Graves. Remember him, former closer?
Yeah, former Miami closer, former Cincinnati Red, if I'm not mistaken, too, right?
Yep, he will be the analyst on that telecast, which I found interesting because obviously with the connections with Greg Lovelady and Mark Kingston, both all at University of Miami. I mentioned that this is the biggest home series since Rice 2012. I don't think there's any debate about that. There's also no debate. This is the biggest baseball series between UCF USF in the history of these two programs. When you think about it, prior to both of them being in the same conference in the American Conference, these two teams usually played at a midweek. And let's be honest, with midweeks are what they are. They're not really anything too special about it. And these baseball programs, these two programs have never seemed to be good at the same time.
Yeah.
It always seemed like UCF was on, dominant, and USF really hadn't been anything great. Mark Kingston's done a good job turning that program around. But even in the last couple of years, UCF hasn't been as good. This is one of the rare times where both have been very good. And I think, huge series for the rivalry. And let's be honest, when you look at the UCF-USF rivalry, a lot of focus on the football side of things, obviously. I have commented that I think the softball rivalry is as intense because they played in NCAA tournaments and regionals, and now they're playing for conference championships in softball to the point where, in 2015, UCF celebrated the American regular season championship, beating USF on senior day, beat USF in the semifinal of the American Conference tournament. In 2016, USF clinched the regular season championship, beating UCF. They celebrated winning the regular season title the next day before the UCF game. We're going to get we might have something similar to that at the end of this weekend, one way or the other, between these two teams. And I think that's exciting for the rivalry that, honestly, I don't think there's any memorable moments from this baseball rivalry between these two programs. So I think this is a big, nice kicker into a Lovelady Kingston rivalry that's ahead of us here for the next handful of years with these two programs. This will not be the last time, Jeff, that we talk about these two teams playing with big ramifications on the line.
Boy, if you're a UCF fan, man, you have got to have wanted to see this, right? Especially if you're old school, kind of like we are. I mean, we're getting USF at home, chance to win the conference outright. And I want to give a shout-out to Bill Morrison, who's the Knights SID for baseball. He has worked out the tiebreaker scenarios. By the way, I should mention, UConn is 1 game back of that 3-way tie at 12-9.
Don't cut them out.
And Tulane is 11-10, 2 games back. Here are the scenarios. UCF can win the conference if they sweep USF, or if they win 2 of 3 against USF, and Houston loses once against Cincinnati. USF can win with a sweep of UCF, or they win 2 out of 3 against UCF with a Houston loss once again. Houston can win the American but if they sweep Cincinnati, they have to sweep Cincinnati. And neither team sweeps the UCF-USF series. Okay? You with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. UConn is still alive. They can win the American if and only if they sweep ECU this weekend and USF wins 2 out of 3 from UCF. So, a lot of scenarios. What it really comes down to is, what it really comes down to is like Friday. Thursday obviously is a huge game. I mean, but no matter what happens on Thursday, Friday's even bigger because you don't want to get swept at all. I mean, if you get swept, you are screwed if you're UCF or if you're USF for that matter. You can knock out Houston. One of these two teams can knock out Houston on Friday. But I'm sure, depending upon who wins on Thursday. But that's neither here nor there. Both of these teams looking at this saying, let's sweep this frickin' series and be done with it. Whatever Houston does, we don't care.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset. I think Thursday is actually a bigger game for UCF, and I'll tell you why. You got Robbie Howell coming in, who could be the pitcher of the year in the league. You have to win this game. If you win this game at home, I think you can officially put that weekend in Tampa behind you. But if you lose on Thursday,
then the pressure ratchets up.
Well, and it's 4 straight losses to USF, and now you're wondering from a mental standpoint, can we get over the hump against this team? And that's why I think for UCF, Thursday is a big game for them. Houston, I think, has an advantage in that they have a weaker opponent, honestly, in Cincinnati. I believe it's in Houston, correct?
Yes, it's at Houston.
So they're going to be home. And so I do think
UConn's also at home, by the way.
Realistically, if you're UCF or USF, at best, I think you're hoping Cincy takes a game at best. So, if you can't sweep, like if UCF or you can't sweep USF, the next best thing to do is take 2 out of 3 and hope that Houston drops a game. And so I think it's going to be fascinating. There'll be a lot of scoreboard watching. Mike Oresko's got to be thrilled. I'll be actually talking to Mike Oresko on the radio show on Saturday. We're tentatively scheduled at the time of this recording. Mike Oresko is tentatively scheduled to join us on Saturday. As you know, things could change, but we're optimistic we'll have Mr. Oresko on, and he's got to be excited, Jeff, about this baseball league and the rise of UCF and USF and how it's going to come down to the final day maybe of the season before deciding a champion. And then you got an exciting tournament coming up in Clearwater in a league that's looking at, and I have had a chance to talk to Jeff Brightwell, who you will be working with indirectly in the conference tournament. And I had a chance to work with at the softball tournament, and I was talking to him about it. And I think the league's close to a lock for 3 bids. And I think there's optimism for maybe a 4th if UConn finishes strong. And who knows if somebody else steals a team out of, kind of nowhere wins the tournament, you might get 5.
Yeah.
So a tremendous league again for baseball, and great to see UCF kind of being a part of that instead of being at the bottom, to be at the top here. And again, Greg Lovelady's done a tremendous job. And I do believe that this weekend, I think in a way marks the beginning of this new chapter of this baseball rivalry, the beginning of it, because I don't think they've really had much of a rivalry in baseball. I think this weekend changes that with Kingston and Lovelady at the helm. I think we're in for a lot of great games, not only this weekend, but moving forward in the future.
I'm the more we see this, the more I become a big believer in that old adage about familiarity breeds contempt. And the point that you make about the 2 coaches is well taken about that. Now, here's what else is at stake. All right. Baseball America poll, USF is 25th. USF is 25th. They're also 25th in the USA Today coaches poll. UCF's receiving votes, basically they're 2 spots out of the top 25. USF is 23rd in the National College Baseball Writers Association poll. UCF is 29th. Houston is 26th. RPI, USF currently 19th as of May 15th. UCF 25th, Houston 26th. So you're getting strong RPI. So you're getting 3 strong RPI games. Chance to crack into the top 25 if you can knock out a team that's already in the top 25. Boy, we're looking at there is just. The more you think about it, the bigger this series becomes. And a couple other notes that I wanted to pass along about UCF. I mean, this is really shaping up to be the UCF pitchers against the USF hitters. The Knights currently, and this is such a credit to Lovelady, fourth best ERA in the country at 2.81 as a team. USF, on the other hand, leads the conference in batting average at 304, on-base percentage at 401, slugging 448, and walks 231. UCF leads the conference, by the way, offensively in runs scored 330 and runs batted in, 340 and runs batted in at 303. So we really are seeing the class of the conference here in this game, in this series. And oh man, I can't wait to get there for Friday night, man. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there.
We will be there. Brian Murphy, he emailed me today. He told me he's going to be there Thursday and Saturday. And
there you go.
He'll have a preview up on Thursday on blackandgoldbanneret.com of this series, and he'll be recapping the series as well when we finish. So, yeah, that's what's at stake. And you throw in the prospects of, what UConn can do, what Houston has a chance to do. Man, this is a hell of a week for baseball coming up. So, what do you think? Are you feeling? What are you feeling in terms of the Knights right now? You think they can get the 2 out of 3 here?
Yes, I do think they get 2 out of 3. I don't know about the sweep. I think the middle game will be interesting. UCF's kind of been trying to search for that.
2 out of 3. So, what do you think Houston does?
Man,
I think Cincinnati. They got a chance to sweep Cincinnati. They are aiming at a sweep.
I would, yeah. I mean, that would be what I would assume. But
and they are 7-2 at home, which is the best record in the conference.
They are. I'm going to say Cincy steals a game and we kind of win it out. I'm going to say we win it. Yeah, we win it out. But it'd be that would in that scenario, it's what, tiebreakers, right?
Yeah, that's where stuff gets crazy. So
if I go UCF 2 out of 3, Houston goes 2 out of 3. That means UCF would be the 1. I want to say Houston would be the 2 in that scenario, and USF would be the 3. Although we don't know what Connecticut would do in theory, so I don't know. I'll let other people that are a lot smarter about this.
And we also don't know who we would be playing because I've been following the bottom of the league as well. Memphis right now is at 7-14. They're playing Tulane, who's 11-10. At Memphis, by the way, East Carolina 6-15, and ECU is playing Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
So
a motivated Connecticut team that knows it has a chance to still win a regular season title.
Yep.
So I would like to think Memphis holds off and is the 7. If they both finish tied, I believe East Carolina wins out because of the tiebreaker.
And wouldn't that be something if UCF ends up playing East Carolina in the 1-8 matchup on that side of the bracket? Because remember, it's a 1-8-4. The way the bracket works in the American Athletic Conference baseball tournament, which starts on Tuesday, 2 games on CBS Sports Network on Tuesday, and then we go American Digital Network for all the games on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then we determine the winners of the 2 4-team brackets by the end of the day on Saturday. And then regardless of how many times either team coming out of those 4-team brackets has lost, the winners of the brackets play each other for a 1-game winner-take-all on Sunday. So
it's fun.
Yeah,
we'll both be. I know you're going to be out there multiple times. And I'm actually planning on joining you for I don't know how many times, but once the schedule comes out, I'll have a better idea. But I know you're looking forward to it. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I had such a great time at that tournament last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again because now last year I thought it was a down year for baseball in the American, and this year you look at how the teams are shaping up right now. I mean. Yeah, even look at the bottom of the league, East Carolina at 6-15. Still, that's a team that I wouldn't be sleeping on, considering what they've done before in the past. And also, there's only one team in this conference that has a losing overall record, and that's Tulane, who's 24-28, but they're 11-10 in the league.
Yeah, very weird, very strange.
Yeah, so I think that the league's actually been strong overall. I think the teams have just been beating the tar out of each other. So.
I agree with that. No, I think there's some truth to that.
Every team is at 500 or better at home this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's unique about the Clearwater, and we'll get into that in our next episode when we preview the baseball tournament, is that Clearwater is a neutral field. So right. That's a fascinating, minor league park. So it's going to be fascinating. I think I think UCF will finish either 1 or 2, and we'll probably end up playing either Memphis or East Carolina. And here's the thing. I mean, you could say, well, Memphis is the easier game, but Memphis did take a game from UCF. They've had success against UCF so that's not I don't think there's a bottom line. The point we're saying is there's not a cakewalk at all. Like nothing would, and you would know better last year. You saw it up close where Memphis out of nowhere, out of the losers bracket, got all the way within 1 game of playing for the championship game. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, that's what's going to be wild about Clearwater. You could say that anybody, right? All the teams that are going to show up in Clearwater have the ability to make a deep run and get to that championship game. And I don't think you'd be completely shocked, would you?
No, nothing would surprise me. If you gave me any scenario happening in Clearwater, literally no scenario would surprise me. There's not a single one based on what I've seen this year from these teams. And what I've seen and what I know each team is capable of based on their previous track record. So, and we will have an exclusive and a quick note for you listeners. We will have an exclusive American Athletic Conference baseball championship preview. We're going to get that thing out on Sunday. All right, so be on the lookout for that. You're going to get a little bonus Black and Gold Banneret podcast for you on Sunday. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, don't forget UCF and USF at the baseball complex on campus, Thursday 6:30, Friday 6:30, Saturday at 1. That Saturday game's on CBS Sports Network. May indeed be the final determining game for the 1 seed, the regular season championship. So, boy, this is going to be a heck of a weekend for baseball coming up. And Eric and I will be at the Friday game. Come say hi. And of course, Brian Murphy will be Thursday and Saturday. Hopefully we'll have him on also for that special Sunday show as well. All right, stick around. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a couple more things. We're going to talk about the rowing team winning their 3rd straight championship in the American. We're going to talk about Bryce Waller and the UCF men's golf team winning the NCAA Regional. They're going to get a chance to play for a national title. And we'll also talk about our visit to the Charge On Tour downtown on this as we record this on a Wednesday night. Stick around. The Black and Gold Banneret Podcast is back right after this.
Hello, Night Nation. I'm Andrew Fegley.
And I'm Trey Strelko. Where are we? This isn't our usual spot.
It looks like we've landed in the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of those guys.
You know, Nightline has UCF sports covered.
Week in and week out, we bring you interviews with newsmakers and in-depth analysis of UCF sports.
Subscribe to our weekly podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to subscribe to Nightline on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at UCF_Nightline.
Trace, can we go back to the 1148 studios now and start working on our next all-new Nightline?
How do we get out of here? Go Knights!
Charge on.
Now back to you guys in the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast.
Welcome back to the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. SHaron and Eric Lopez with you. I want to remind you, of course, don't forget to log on to blackandgoldbanneret.com, subscribe to our email alerts there, and also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and TuneIn. Hit us up at UCF_Banneret on Twitter and Black and Gold Banneret on Facebook as well. All right. So we talked about baseball heading into the American Athletic Conference tournament, but speaking of postseason, there was another American Athletic Conference championship that was decided this past weekend, and it was in women's rowing. And for the 3rd straight year, UCF has won the American in rowing. It happened out in Sarasota at Nathan Benderson Park. The Knights swept all 6 events. Head coach Becky Kramer wow, bringing home the hardware. And I want to make sure that, now, I know you're going to be like, okay, you're going to read off the names. Yeah, I am going to read off the names of the people who of the athletes who did this, because let me tell you something. I've been out there on the water with UCF rowing during practices. Yes, when I was when I was working in the video department, I did a feature on rowing, and I was in it was during a practice, and I was out there. It was like I forget what it was. It was like a parents' weekend or something, and I was out there with on a pontoon boat with my camera, and it was a little overloaded. I almost fell in the water a couple times, and I was out there watching how hard these athletes work, and they're not all scholarship athletes. A large percentage of them, it's just something that people the girls go and they're like, this would be kind of cool to actually do, and they try out and then they make the team. And so here's who won for the Knights. All right, third varsity 4: Erica Jimenez, Jessica Scholes, Jasmine Sepulveda, Alyssa Ramos, and Nicole Snyder. Won the third varsity 4 won their heat. Second varsity 4: Kristen Taylor, Sydney Hayes, Darby Brooks, Jacinta Kendall, and Caitlin Ross. Defeated Tulsa at the very end. Third varsity 8: Ashley Martin, Liz Mallett, Raquel Smeenge, Danielle Wilson, Leonie Hamill, Ashley Barnes, Jordan Jahoski, Dina Saman, and Tristan Krebs. They were in a tight one with UConn and Tulsa, but they pulled it out in under 7 minutes. Varsity 4, another first-place finish in the fourth race: Nicole Mayer, Allie Dirksen, Shannon Perry, Grace Lindbergh, Paula Parks captaining that boat. And then finally, second varsity 8, who just dominated and paved the way to finish it off: Catherine Harms, Rachel Klunder, Jasmine Blaze, Anna Mahoney, Ivana forgive me, Ivana, if you hear this, Ivana Kirklius, I guess is her name, Leslie LaJoy, Rachel Rabinowitz, Edvina Neskoyatia. God in heaven, let's see. All right, I'm going to try this out. Edvina, I beg your forgiveness, and her parents and family too, and her friends. Nesukaitaiti and Danielle Taylor. 6:34.5 was their final time. Let's see. Oh, there was one more. All right, one more. I want to get this in there because they all deserve credit for it. Olivia Hasimovich, Ashley Boyd, Claudia DiStefani, Julie Polson, Lauren Aiello, Zaina Krokic, Maria Medlinskate, Victoria Sincuti, and Mia Cleary. All right, so here's what's next for Becky Kramer's team. They get an automatic bid to the NCAA Championships, third straight appearance, West Windsor, New Jersey, May 26th through the 28th. So how about 3 straight at American Athletic Championships, Eric? That is, by the way, that's in Mercer County, which is outside of Trenton. Just north of Trenton is where they're going to be for that. So this is awesome, man. I mean, NCAAs once again for UCF rowing. And have you ever been out there to their facility, Eric?
I have not. I have not been out there. I have watched a couple of the races, including last year when they won the American Conference Championship. I actually watched it live. I was at Tulsa. I was in Tulsa with UCF softball, and I want to say it was a Saturday. In fact, it was. I want to say it was a Saturday, and it was prior to us flying out, if I recall. And I was watching it with Megan, the SID at the time at softball. It's now SID at women's basketball, but she still obviously handles rowing and stuff. Mm-hmm. I watched it with her, actually, and it was pretty impressive how they dominated it last year. And they're very supportive. I got the chance to chat with them. I remember last year they actually helped send off UCF softball to the regionals. Yep. And I think softball returned the favor, as a matter of fact, afterwards when they came back from the regionals and send off, I want to say, rowing to the NCAAs last year, if I recalled, or something similar. I had a chance to talk to Coach Kramer at the Knights Tour event, and so exciting. I mean, it's tremendous what she's done there, building this dominant program.
Yeah.
And with an opportunity here in the NCAAs to do some damage and trying to take it to the promised land.
Now, this is a sport, women's rowing, that is dominated primarily by exactly who you think. The big athletic schools. So your Big Tens, your Pac-10s or Pac-12s, and Texas, and also your Ivy Leagues. Okay, so you got Harvard and Yale and Navy, even though they're not a Navy's not an Ivy League, but those sort of northeastern maritime sort of schools, along with your Ohio States, your Cals, Washington, Virginia, Stanford. 2015, UCF finished 19th in the NCAAs. Last year, they finished 20th out of 22. 2015, they were 19th out of 22. So there is stiff competition, very stiff competition up there. But nonetheless, UCF is playing for a national championship. I mean, that alone to me is just remarkable when you think about it. UCF is playing for a national championship in rowing, and so they're going to get their chance against that competition coming up here in just a little bit more than a week. So, congrats to Becky Kramer. I'm hoping that we can get Becky on here in the next before the championships take place. So be on the lookout for that. Speaking of UCF playing for a national championship, men's golf. No one saw this coming, and maybe we should have. The men's golf team ranked 47th in the country, headed up to the College Grove Regional. College Grove, Tennessee. It's actually called the Murfreesboro Regional because it was hosted by Middle Tennessee State. And UCF goes up to this regional, and they win the regional. The Knights finish as a team -1 throughout the 3 rounds, just 2 strokes ahead of number 2 ranked Vanderbilt, 39th ranked Kennesaw State, and 14th ranked Clemson. So UCF, Vandy, Kennesaw, Clemson, and Lipscomb advanced to the NCAA men's golf finals. But UCF, man, heading to their regional champions, headed back to the Nationals for the first time since 2013. Head coach Bryce Waller led the Knights to their first NCAA regional championship since 2009.
You covered that one,
yeah?
Did you not?
That was an excellent team that had a couple guys who went pro. I mean, all I can say is wow. I mean, I talked to some of the folks who were over there, and they were like, "Wow, men's golf, man! Holy moly!" I not too many people really did see this coming, but they did it, and congratulations to them. Manuel Elvira finished tied for 3rd in the individual championships. For the regional, Kyler Tate of UCF finished in 5th. He was -4 for the 3-round tournament. Elvira finished -5, 3 strokes back of the winner, which was Dawson Armstrong of Lipscomb. But man, men's golf. I mean, isn't that awesome?
It really is. How did we miss this one? Because I feel like men's golf, and I point back to 2009. You were there. You covered that team. I think it was Coach Clinard, I believe.
Nick Kleinert. He was
Kleinert. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, he went. He left for Auburn. I think he's still there. I'm not 100% sure.
But that was a top 25 program at the time, and with all the resources playing golf in Orlando, I mean that's speaks for itself. They've been making the NCAA tournament, like you mentioned, but we didn't really have expectations to win this region. But they played tremendous golf, and I'm kind of surprised we kind of didn't see this coming. They're ranked 47th. Maybe the expectations weren't as high because they were ranked 47th. Is that why we kind of underestimated this? I mean, how did we miss this?
Well, I don't think we missed it. I just think that first of all, the randomness of the sport, right? Right. You get hot the right weekend, you're gonna do some damage. we're in a low point in the schedule. We're all paying attention to baseball. Last weekend we were paying attention to softball. But we saw the women. They bowed out in the regionals, but UCF just got hot, and the tournament happened in the middle of the week, and they made it happen.
That's changed, hasn't it? Hasn't that changed? Because I remember a lot of times when I was doing softball regionals, the golf regionals were at the same time because I would be around UCF officials that were interested to see what was going on in golf. So I think for me, maybe that's how I missed it because I always added the golf regionals with softball regionals. I felt like at least either the men or women. I don't know. Maybe I was way off. I just remember, like 2 years ago, I would talk about, how's the golf team doing and stuff like that. So, Bryce Waller, did you get a chance to meet him when he got hired after? I remember you interview, right?
Yeah, right after he got hired, right after Kleiner left, I met Bryce, and you got the feeling that he, he had, first of all, he did have a talented program coming in. We all knew that because, the job that Nick Kleiner did for UCF was nothing short of remarkable. But Bryce, I know it's such a cliche, and I hate this cliche, but it really is true. He took it to another level. He really did take it to another level. He wanted a higher level of accountability for his players, both on the course and off the course, academically, and it's paid off. I remember there were a little bit of growing pains in the beginning, but man, the players play for him, and he is a hell of a golf coach. He and Emily Marin are like this 1-2 punch, man, for UCF golf. That's just really been something. All right, I've got the competition. Here's who UCF's going to be playing against in the men's golf championships. It's being hosted by Northern Illinois. It's being played May 26th through 31st at Rich Harvest Farms in Sugar Grove, Illinois, outside of Chicago. So here is all right. Here's who we got. There were 6 total regionals, and UCF, won one of them. So here we go. The competition is going to be Arizona State, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Texas.
Wow.
Okay, ready? There's more. Duke, LSU, Jacksonville, Oregon, and Virginia. Coming out of this regional, of course, UCF, Clemson, Kennesaw State, Lipscomb, Vanderbilt. Also out of the Washington regional, Alabama, Florida State, Kent State, Penn State, and USC, University of Southern California. The Stanford regional was Baylor, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Pepperdine, and Stanford. And finally, the West Lafayette, Indiana regional, Auburn, Illinois, New Mexico, Purdue, UNLV. Talk about some competition, man. Woo.
Yeah. It's the cream of the crop, but hey, they're in it. Got a chance to win it. And that's the thing. You play well. You're playing the course, right? I mean, at the end of the day,
right,
you're playing the course. You're not really playing the opponent. So some of this is kind of beyond your control. You could shoot a great score, but if another team or another player shoots better, you get beat, or vice versa. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't worry about what the other player. You just shoot the best you can. But very significant, very big for them to win that and advance to the NCAA championship. So we got a couple teams trying to win a championship here, a national championship, Jeff.
Yeah.
Did and you got a chance to interview all the sports, and we always talked about that elusive or winning a national championship. Who would be that first program? And we always focus on a lot of the mainstream.
Wait. I got to correct you. They wouldn't be the first program.
Well, yeah, cheerleading. Right.
No. I'll go back even further.
Oh, your volleyball team.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I meant in the Division I era, but I mean that's. Why can't golf be the first program? I mean, why would that not be the wise choice to say, okay, if I could handpick it, maybe golf is the odds-on favorite to bring home a national championship, as far as not counting cheerleading, just talking about the team sports, if you will, as far as that uses, why wouldn't golf not be at the top of the list? Would that be the odds-on favorite? We had to do a draft. It's funny because we just had the lottery in the NBA, right? So if you had a draft, if you could do a draft and you could pick the UCF sport, and you have the number 1 pick, okay, this sport moving forward, will bring UCF a national championship first, who would you pick?
You know, you've convinced me. I would have a hard time arguing against golf having the best chance. I would say it would be golf and baseball.
Ooh, okay.
And I would put a little asterisk next to tennis.
Yeah, you've told
I think
what?
tennis
Yep.
is coming.
Well, I've made that prediction. I've said, in fact, that's my pick. I would still pick tennis because I think John Roddick's that good. I think he's elite, and I think with the USTA Center in Lake Nona as a home court, I think UCF tennis will win a national championship during the John Roddick era. So that would be my first pick.
They're sure as heck going to play for one. I do believe that. Like they're going to get to the national championships at some point.
You know, cheerleading is still in the mix every year. The problem, I feel like cheerleading, having followed that the last few years, it feels like now it's always like Kentucky's to lose, or it's always
it always has been. It always has been. And the issue with that is the fact that Kentucky and I think it's Alabama. I mean, they're both so good that you have to in cheerleading you have to hit your routine. I mean, nail it perfectly. But I feel like you have to hope that they stumble a bit.
Right. I feel like it's. I mean, not that it's predetermined, but I feel like it's kind of like the BCS era in football, where you just knew that the SEC was going to be in the title game because it just seemed like the formula was going to work in the SEC's favor. I just feel like the judges are just going to go SEC, and I feel like that's where we're at in cheerleading. That's why I don't have it as high, and maybe unfairly, because they've certainly been right in the mix and they've been close. But I would say tennis one. But I would go golf too. We got two great coaches, first of all. So we got two great that coaches. I think you got to agree or have the programs in the right direction with the right city to play golf, right area. A lot of good things going on there,
and the random nature of the sport.
Yeah,
I mean it is one of those things where you really, I mean, you have any idea? Is there any like odds-on favorite to win the championship? No. When you think about it, it's golf. You go out there and you could be the number one ranked team in the nation. You have a bad day, you're done. And that can happen real quick. And the reason why I put baseball up there too is because, I still go back to the fact that in baseball you can get hot at the just like in golf, you can get hot at the right time, and ride that wave all the way to a title. Look at what I still go back to this. I know it was 10 years ago, but when I was covering Georgia was odds-on favorite to win the national title. They had their superstar player was Gordon Beckham, who went on to the White Sox. I think he's still there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's had to hop around in the big leagues, but he's the big
bounced around a little bit, but pretty good player.
Yeah,
he was outstanding college.
Josh Fields, the closer, he's still in the. I think he's in the big league still. Yeah,
but they were the odds-on favorite, and they ran into a buzzsaw when the College World Series went to that best-of-3 final format. And the buzzsaw that they ran into was Fresno State. And Fresno State, what that year was like, they barely got into the tournament. Like they were a bubble team.
They were a 4th seed in a regional, yeah.
Yeah, they barely got in. There were a lot of people who thought they shouldn't have even made the tournament that year. And what happened? The bats got hot. The pitching got hot, and they just rode that wave to the national championship. They finished, I think they were probably like maybe 10 or 12 games above 500. They were not an overly good team. They were not dominant. They did not win the Mountain West, I think they were in at the time. And they beat the juggernaut of Georgia and won the national championship. And I thought, covering that as closely as I did, I thought, you know what? If Fresno State, if you can get into that tournament at any point and you've got at least talent, and that talent gets hot at the right time, anything is possible. Look at the other schools that are not nearly as prestigious from as prestigious leagues as the American is. Cal State Fullerton, Pepperdine. Who was it that we saw?
Look at last year. Coastal Carolina winning the national championship.
Yeah,
Rice has won a national title. The point is, you're making, and I agree, college baseball somehow
it's a roll of the dice.
Well, it's more of an even playing field, too. There's not as much politics involved in it. In other words, in football, obviously, you have the politics of if you're not in the Power Five and you're not a brand name, you're probably not going to play for the national championship in football. In basketball, you've had your Cinderellas, your VCUs, your Butlers, but you still got to go through some of the big boys to get there. You got the ball to bounce a certain way. Baseball, you can win the national title and not be a Power Five school. That's clear. As long as you've got the good team, good pitching, and good timely hitting, you can win a regional. Home field is not as critical in baseball as it is in other sports.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're onto something there. I think with the resources that UCF has in baseball, I think you're right. I think that's definitely up in the list. I would agree with that. Look at this year. I mean, not suggesting they could go all the way this year, but why not, right? I mean, they have the top 5 pitching staff ERA in the country. Florida State is down this year. They're probably not going to host a regional Florida State this year. Miami may not even make the NCAAs. Florida is very good, but, UCF I think can play with Florida. They beat Florida earlier this year. I know it was a midweek, but anything can happen. And so you're right. I would put baseball up there, and I think rowing has to be up there, right? With the consistency they've become.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's gonna. I think rowing might be a key one in there. That may indeed happen. If everybody gets hot, you just want to have a shot. And I think this is what we as UCF fans have long been saying for years now. Is just all we want is a shot, right? All these other sports we never really thought we had a shot. Now we got a shot. So I think that's where we're at right now. It's just we have this great opportunity, and they have a chance. And men's golf this year in the next couple weeks, men's golf, women's rowing, chance to win a national championship. Can't get any better than that. And then we'll keep an eye on baseball to see what they can do coming up. So all right, just a quick reminder. We will do a Sunday show. We're still trying to pull this together. We're going to do a special Sunday show previewing the American baseball tournament in Clearwater, which will be coming up this week. Working on a couple guests that we might have for that one. Be on the lookout for Brian Murphy's columns here on blackandgoldbanneret.com for baseball. Eric Lopez, what do you have going on this week other than meeting up with? Oh, wait! Before we go, we wanted to talk about the Charge On tour. We didn't get the chance to do that.
Well, that's why we're here.
Exactly. All right. So we were there downtown at the Cheyenne Saloon. And wow, what a party, man. Was that fun or what?
Yeah, that was my first time going to it.
Me too.
I really enjoyed the mingling, if you will. There's a before and after. You get there before. There's a lot of the alumni there, but a lot of the coaches are there. And it's kind of a laid-back deal, and you get to hang out with them and chat with them, really. I mean, really, it's a cool experience in that, if you haven't had a chance, you get a chance to talk to Coach Dawkins face-to-face, pretty laid-back, among other coaches. Obviously, Johnny Dawkins was there, Scott Frost. You had Todd Dagenet for volleyball, Emily Marin, women's golf, Becky Kramer, who wasn't on stage, but she was in attendance, the rowing coach.
Yep. Bunch of the assistants, all the folks that we know from marketing and communications were there.
Yeah. So it was a cool event. Mark Daniels emceeing the event. Makes it fun. I'm hoping I made the selfie. They always do the big selfie finish at the end of the event.
Yeah,
so
Eric DeSalvo gets his selfie stick out.
Yeah, so I'm that was my big thing. Is like I want to make that big selfie with a whole group and coaches. That's always. But no, it was cool. Obviously the coaches get a chance to chat a little bit. And Danny White was there, obviously, to talk as well. I mean, I don't think there was anything earth-shattering news, Jeff, that you took that I took away from it, more than informative, if anything else. I mean, I enjoyed more of the mingling stuff and talking to people and kind of their perspective. I don't think there was anything newsworthy that came out of it. It was just a kind of a unique deal.
Well, Danny White had the presentation out there with all of looking at the future plans for the athletic village and touting the donations and everything, but that was all stuff that we already knew was happening. And then the coaches are out there, preaching the UCF gospel to the choir, and that's exactly what these summer tours are. I wish we had more of them for a lot more of our fans around the state. I don't think they're doing a South Florida one, which is kind of a bummer. Some of my friends down in South Florida were like, "Man, that looks like fun. Wish we could do that again." But they had one down in Tampa. They had one. I think they had one in Jacksonville, didn't they too?
Yes, at the stadium at Everbank.
Yeah, and they're going to have one at on the Space Coast as well.
Well, the Everbank was last year. They're not doing it this year, but they did it last year.
Yeah.
They did it last year. No, I mean, it's cool. It's just to see and chat with other people there. It was very laid back. The timing's always unique in that scenario. I found it amusing that they do a Q&A with the coaches, and I think Scott Frost got asked multiple times about the offensive line.
Which
I'm like, okay,
hey coach, how's the offensive line? Yeah, we're getting better. Hey coach,
seriously,
really?
Yeah, he passed
really,
multiple.
Really though, how is the offensive line?
Yeah, it really was. It was wow, a lot of multiple. Yes. It's in fact, I think Mark had the response all right, any more offensive line questions? I mean, Coach Dawkins talked about the 6 new players that'll be playing next year, and Todd talked about the group that he's got coming back, and
and the schedule. He's previewed the schedule for us.
Correct. So it's a fun event. It's a nice little event. I enjoy, like I said, the interaction stuff more. It's kind of hard for us, right, Jeff? Because we kind of follow this on a daily basis, so we kind of know most of this stuff already. So, like a lot of fans, for example, got a chance to sign autographs with the coaches. For us, we kind of see it. It's not that big a deal. But for a fan that doesn't normally get a chance to do that, that's a big deal. So, I think for the general fan, I think it's pretty exciting stuff because they get a chance to maybe learn about what's going on that, maybe you and I already take for granted because we already know it, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm hoping to actually go to another one, the Seminole County one on Thursday for lunch. Hopefully I'll get to see a few more people over there because I brought my son to the first one, but it was so chaotic. I just wanted to keep him. I was having a hard enough time keeping him corralled. So the next one should be a little bit more intimate down in over in Lake Mary. So that should be. That should be a lot of fun. I hope that I wish we actually did things like that more often, not just in the summer, but maybe do a little do something once a month. And I thought the Cheyenne Saloon was the perfect venue for it. What a cool place! I'd never been in there before.
Really?
On Church Street? Yeah, I'd never been in there before. And the work that he'd done on Church Street was really fun. There's that. There is that the Orlando was it the Lions Den or whatever, that Orlando City Soccer official place that's over there. Of course, we've been to Harry Buffalo a bunch of times. They put a Ferg's in there, which of course we really enjoy. From St. Pete across the street from Tropicana Field, and now they have that over by Church Street Station. I mean, it's a nice area. It's a great place to be. The parking was remarkably easy, and I thought it was a lot of fun event. And you're right. I did enjoy the opportunity to kind of rub elbows with the coaches, see some old friends, and just hang out for a little bit. And I thought that was a lot of fun. That was worth making the trip down there and seeing everybody. So. And hopefully I'll get to see them all again at the Seminole County one too. So that should be a lot of fun as well. So, all right. So let's wrap it up, Lopez. What do you got? What do you got coming up for yourself this week, other than coming to UCF Baseball on Friday?
Well, let me just say this. First of all, go to Eric Lopez on Twitter because you'll get the details.
You,
go to Twitter,
my friend, had some choice words for the NCAA softball committee.
Well, they deserved it. They were very incompetent, and it's softball is the only sport where the committee will leave out the number 1 ranked team in the country from hosting a regional, not even seed them nationally.
It even made Deadspin.
Yeah, that's what you want to be on is Deadspin. So that's really bad, really bad. Really bad. I can't even. Anyway, so yes, just go ahead, right there. Go to Eric Lopez Elo, so we'll get more of my bantering on softball. But also, I will try to give details, hopefully to confirm this. At the time of this recording, we're in the process and pretty close to having, hope to have Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, on the Saturday show that I do 11 to 1 on Sports Talk Florida, 1080 Orlando. We usually do it from Universal Nissan or Universal Hyundai car dealership, but we are in the process of finalizing it where we would have Commissioner Oresco. I'll confirm that on social media. It'll be somewhere between 11 and 1 o'clock. So we're hoping to have him on at leading up to the baseball tournament up in Clearwater, and obviously we'll talk about some other stuff in the conference and UCF related as well. So hoping to finalize that in the coming day or two, and so that would be my kind of deal to hope that works. Jeff, what would be a question you would want to ask Mike Oresco if we get him?
I want to ask him a couple things. Number one, has the conference encouraged schools to add sports? And if so, which ones? For example, is there a possibility that we could see like men's track and field at UCF, for example? Maybe a couple of other sports as well. And I would like to ask him, this whole Power 6 initiative, how much traction is there, and how much more and how much does this depend on the television contract negotiations that are going to be coming up really soon? What is he going to do with that? How much more of an investment in digital are they going to make in terms of those revenue streams? Just those are the things that I want to know as far as that's concerned. So that's what I would be looking forward to.
So Power 6, and what was the other one? I'm writing this
and down. New sports. Are they trying to encourage some teams to do some?
Wow.
Are they trying to encourage some schools to add some sports? And if so, which ones?
All right. I won't make any guarantee they'll get in, but I'll try my best.
All right. Sounds good, man. I will be at baseball. We both will be at baseball on Friday.
Yep.
And, of course, look out for that special Sunday show previewing the baseball tournament here in a few days. So, for Eric Lopez, I'm Jeff Sharon. Don't forget to log on to blackandgoldbanneret.com. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and at UCF_Banneret on Twitter, Black and Gold Banneret on Facebook, Jeff_Sharon on Twitter, Eric Lopez Elo on Twitter, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and TuneIn. For Eric Lopez, I'm Jeff Sharon. Thanks for listening. This has been the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast. We'll catch you at baseball on Friday.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.